It's 7, Sherman.
In peace.
It's 7. Yep.
I ain't gonna do it, Stuart. Go ahead.
You gonna do the invocation?
Yeah.
I've got 7. What time?
They're starting the meeting, Stuart.
Sure.
The meeting of the Nottaway County. The meeting of the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors now come to order. Okay. Mr. Bowen, will you give the invocation, please?
Yes, thank you. Lord, again, we come to you, and Father, one week is ice storms, and next week it looks like it's tornadoes, Father. Thank you for this day, and thank you mostly for Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, and through him we come to you. Amen.
Amen.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have the approval of the agenda. Get a motion to,
Yeah. I make a motion we approve the agenda as amended. Is any explanation needed?
Second.
okay. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Before we get into the meeting, I would like to read a statement I've been thinking about. Last month, I missed someone in the delegation department. But welcome to the March meeting of the Board of Supervisors of Nottaway County. Please note that the process for signing up to speak is different tonight from the cards of the past. At last month's meeting, I misplaced the card of a citizen who wanted to speak, and for that, I apologize. Starting tonight, we will use a sign-up list, and I will make every effort to make sure I recognize everyone on the list. At the end of the list, I will also ask to ensure no one was skipped. We welcome, in fact, we depend on the input from our citizens, both at our meetings and outside of our meetings, so long as that input is shared in an orderly manner. We thank you for being here. We appreciate your interest and your input, and we will make every effort at this meeting and at all times to ensure our actions and decisions are in the best interest of Nottaway County and its citizens. I would like to also mention that we're going back to the 5-minute to speak. We cut it back to 3, but now we'll go back so everyone will get a chance to speak. It will be 5 minutes from this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, a delegation from the public. Mr. Abbott, you're the first one.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Prosai, thanks for the opportunity. The Freedom of Information Act has been outlined as being so frequently used that it seems to impact the day-to-day operations of our county administration. Why is FOIA necessary? I believe part of the answer is simple. It's because the Board of Supervisors rarely responds to citizens, rarely provides details on unfinished business or the business that has been dragging on for months. A couple of meetings back, I was pleased to have Mrs. Shackleton provide an update on the animal shelter. It happens so infrequently, and I'm not the only one that asks questions with hopes of getting answers. Again, thank you, Mrs. Shackleton.
You're welcome.
The real need for FOIA is when a law firm is added by the current vacationing county administrator a couple of months prior to his lengthy vacation and retirement without discussion at a regular board meeting. Was the firm added with agreement and understanding of the entire board, or just a member or two? Did anyone of the 5 of you agree or approve of this action? Even if it was legal for the administrator to hire Sands Anderson, did the process follow standard procedures? One of the more significant questions are, did Mr. Rourke use his position as county administrator to hire Sands Anderson because the firm has an attorney that he has introduced as a friend, is a former county administrator, and specializes in an area of law that might better serve his legal predicaments? When did the board approve and then confirm the addition of this firm? If specific specialties in areas of law are necessary, why wasn't an RFP introduced to seek a firm with the skills necessary to address the county's special situations and avoid the potential of conflict of interest? When will the board address the appearance of inappropriate use of a position or authority? If transparency matters, I suggest tonight should be the first in a number of steps to correct this situation and follow the decorum necessary to achieve a higher standard of form and function. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Ms. Abbott.
Mr. Clark.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You know, I've been here before complaining to y'all before the ice storm. But today I'm trying to make peace. County business is not getting done properly because of the bickering. And it's time you 5 people figure some kind of reason y'all can get something done. But, I mean, you know, it takes 5 to do it. But I can understand why someone can be mad by some of the Facebook drama. I really do, honestly I do, because some of it's been personal. And I just think as a county, and me being a citizen, and I'm not trying to make it racist, and being a black man, and I knew Mr. Vaughn all my life. I knew Helen for over 40 years. I don't like a lot of your policies, Mr. Vaughn, but one thing I can understand is he don't deserve to be slandered. He never was called a crook, thief, or a liar, neither one of them. And I would defend you just as well if somebody was slandering you and Ms. North Secretary. I just think the Facebook drama, and most of it, and I'm gonna tell it, they don't like it, I really don't care, because it's getting crazy. The drama is about mostly 14 or 15 of the same group. And you hit it on the head, they can't run the county. I'm a citizen. We elected you. I wouldn't appreciate a judge overruling me. I swear to God, I wouldn't, because you was elected. Mr. Rock, you ran a good candidate against Ms. Vaughn. You whipped, against Yvonne, you whipped us. Good candidate. I didn't complain. I took the laws. I shook your hand, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
And said I do everything to help you. And that's how it goes. Everything can't go your way. When it don't go your way, you got to roll with your punches. I was in a meeting the other day with a group, and I ain't gonna call all the detail, but I suggested a group, and I loved the group that performed, and the rest of the members didn't want it. I hated it, but I went with the flow. That's okay, I never bring it up again, but we, as a county, and some people are taking this thing too personal. We see each other on the street. It's a small county, we taking it too personal. If this board member has done something wrong, keep it to the facts and politics. Let's don't make it personal. Making people out to be liars and crooks and whatever. I mean, no, we don't do that. We're too good of people for that, folks. I don't want to leave out here and I can walk down the street, somebody mad at me, rolling their eyes. I don't want to live that life. This is a small county, and I don't go to church regularly, but I was raised to be a Christian. And I don't do the Facebook drama. I don't do that talking behind somebody's back. If I got something to say, I would tell you in front of your face. Like I told y'all when I wasn't agreeing with what y'all was doing. I didn't do it on Facebook. I told you straight and down y'all wasn't doing nothing. I mean, I would appreciate if y'all go out to dinner. I would be almost willing to pay for the dinner. Y'all just go out to dinner and just talk. And I ironed it out because he got good ideas. But you can't get nothing done if they don't want to listen to what you're saying, right?
Yes, sir.
So y'all got to, and he got some good ideas, but I understand y'all mad too, because some of the stuff I saw on Facebook, I'd be suing somebody. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because he got good ideas, and I just wish y'all could get together and work something out and figure out some kind of smoke the peace pipe, no marijuana, the peace pipe. But seriously, because he got some good ideas, but we got to get something going. Some of the things, I mean, most of them he says very good ideas, but we just can't, the slandering, and I get a lot of feedback about the slander of our black leaders. I get a lot of kickback on that. Because Mr. Vaughn, you know just about every kid in Nottaway County done dealt with you. And I had a little guy say, what Secret Squirrel done? What they keep messing with Secret Squirrel?
That's my nickname.
Yeah, that's his nickname, I'm sorry. But folks, I mean, I love Nottaway County, Blackstone crew, Berkeley, the shopping crew. But we just need to be better people, man, and keep it off the personal note. Things might not be right, but slandering and insulting people is not the way to go. I don't want nobody to do that to me, and if I have insulted somebody on Facebook, anyway, I really do apologize, and that's the honest truth. And thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Did I break that?
No.
Hope that don't count against my time. It's not on there very well.
There you go.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, esteemed supervisors. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. I appreciate it. I also want to thank you for your long service to Nottaway County. Members of this board have collectively over half a century experience on this board, some members of this board. And as a citizen, I have to say that is very honorable to serve the citizens of Nottaway County for that length of time. In comparison, our county administration has been in office for 47 years, working for our county. And as we look at the overall state of the county, at first we must look at how our county has done over that length of time in the same administration. If we remove the inmates out of the equation, based on my calculations, Nottaway County has had a negative 2% growth in population in that time frame, while surrounding counties in the area have exceeded 7 to 15% growth, including Amelia, Brunswick, Lunenburg County, etc. Our buildings are in disarray, with employees at least at one time working in unsafe working conditions. During this time, the citizens pretty much allowed the county to operate as usual, and the results have been detrimental, in my opinion. A couple years ago, citizens started getting involved. They brought to this board's attention many issues, including the decline of county buildings, an inoperable EOC, and an outdated EOP. This board didn't seem to listen or care. I can't say care, but they definitely didn't listen because those situations weren't resolved. Then the disaster struck, and our county was not prepared. 5 days after the storm hit, the state, county, and community came together and did an amazing job getting goods and supplies to citizens. But we opened the county a 24-hour shelter 5 days later when it was 56 degrees and sunny out after the storm initially hit. When citizens came to last month's meeting to voice their concern, little did they know that a collaboration effort from this board was underway to dissolve some of the public comments. Citizens had to find that out through FOIA requests, take a look at through some emails between board members, and that's unfortunate. As this meeting continued, anti-citizen sentiment was very noticeable, with one supervisor going on a rant to to shame citizens and even saying, let the concerned citizens be concerned. Then this board wouldn't even second a motion to even discuss, to create RFPs and to seek a consulting firm to replace our departed county administrator, which in my mind is a breach of its duties and responsibilities. Concerned citizens are now concerned. The time when a citizen refuses to hold this board accountable for its actions is over. It's been a very long time. Our county needs an administration and a board to focus on jobs, housing, and other development so the county can grow and have the basic services it needs. The demand is high for new energy-efficient homes, jobs, hotels. The DOJ, I was sitting in the meeting when they were down in Blackstone saying they couldn't believe that this county couldn't get incentives to get a hotel here. The DOJ is having to ship troops all the way north of Richmond daily on a charter bus instead of the original plan when they built the project of Fast C to have them staying at a hotel here in Blackstone that would be built by the open market and spending money in town. The demand is high, actually, here in Nottoway County. To have negative growth in that time frame it's just bad management. We need a new county administration that specializes in creating growth and development and these services, basic services that people need. In conclusion, these changes are going to occur in Nottoway County, and it's going to happen either with this board or with another board after another election. But eventually, it's going to happen. But it's time to address the citizens' needs and concerns and not forget why we originally ran for office in the first place. To make change, probably, to create a better county. And it's also good to not forget whom you serve at the pleasure of, which is the citizens of Nottoway County. Now, I made a speech for 3 minutes. I wasn't expecting 5, so I appreciate the extra time. I will say this. I've spoken to 3 of the 5 supervisors. I haven't had a chance to speak to Ms. Simmons or Mr. Vaughn. And I think all of our conversations have been constructive. And I don't believe that we're going to agree on every issue, but I don't think that I've personally ever made it personal, and I've been honest with everybody about my stance.
Your time is up, sir.
In the county, the way I'd like to see the county go. So,
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you very
Page.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith, sir.
Evening, Board.
Hey, how
Good
you-
evening.
I saw the new sign-up sheet, and I just want to say thank you for taking action upon something. And accountability is what we've all been asking for, and thank you for taking accountability and taking responsibility for your mistake and correcting it and working towards making sure that it doesn't happen ever again. Mistakes happen, and I just want you to know, as a citizen, I appreciate that. So I do know that some of y'all at least have seen Facebook. I know some of you have a Facebook. And I'm curious if anybody saw the drama from the animal control officer last night. I wrote an email to the Nottoway County, and I know plenty of other people have. One of my questions is, before I waste any more time, is do you plan on reading that email that was sent?
Leaving the post, the post that was sent, no, that should be being taken care of and removed now. We haven't got it done yet?
Well, I'm just wondering if an email is going to be read that was sent from a lot of people.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought we were talking
If
about.
it's not, I will read it right now.
What's she saying?
But I don't want it to be needed to be read.
She's
twice.
asking if the board is going to read aloud any emails that was sent in concerning any issues.
Hopefully not.
No.
Well, I plan on reading that email because I want to make sure everybody got it, because we know that y'all aren't that great at returning emails sometimes. So I don't know if you read it. It says, I am outraged at the misuse of the Nottoway County Animal Shelter's public Facebook page by the Animal Control Officer Kim. This behavior and outburst of a person's opinions on a county's page is completely unprofessional use of the shelter's page. This leads to a concern of her abilities to make critical professional decisions in her position. Her misuse of the public page should have some repercussions, as this manner is not acceptable by a county official. There's already been issues with animal control officers in the county prior. The most recent incident now makes me question Nottaway County's animal shelter as a whole again. I hope you will hear the concerns and actions will be taken. I hope you will listen to your residents and it to be read during public delegation meeting tomorrow, which is tonight. I just want to make sure that that was read and you all heard it. I know it's a personnel issue and you cannot do it in an open session. But when you do decide to, and I hope you do decide to do something about the situation, because it was a little disgusting to see on a posted as, and it was posted as the county, not even posted as a personal thing on a personal page. So that's all I had to say tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cruz. Thomas Cruz.
Cruz.
Good afternoon, members of the board, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for providing me with the opportunity to speak tonight. I wish to speak briefly on 3 important topics, and I do wish to also commend you, going a bit off my presentation, for re-extending the time to 5 minutes, so my presentation will take less. First, as I did in the previous meeting, I would like to encourage the board to hire a full-time emergency service coordinator. Second, I would like to support Chairman Vaughn's suggestion that the board visit EOCs in other counties. As the chairman pointed out during the work session, the current EOC is too small to suit the needs for Nottaway County. Third, I would like to spend the remainder of my time talking about the agreement involving the Sandy River Reservoir in Prince Edward County. I think it goes without saying that this has the potential to be a phenomenal deal for some and a bad deal for others. I think the interests of crew are important and should be central to any decision. However, I think in the midst of the current back and forth, we are missing the forest for the trees. If you read the resolution proposed by Prince Edward County, it is essentially handing over the keys to do business in Nottaway County without any oversight, and to consequently have control over what could become a vital resource to our county. I think the resolution that has been proposed by Prince Edward has the potential to be a good deal. But right now, as it is currently worded, it is a bad deal. I would advise the board to consider taking a different approach than the others that I've heard so far. The board should consult with the deputy administrator and the county attorney to determine what would be required to allow Prince Edward County to sell the water to Nottaway, and for Nottaway to resell that water to its incorporated communities. The resolution could be reworded to empower Prince Edward County to do business only with the county itself. If Nottaway can do this, then it empowers Prince Edward to be able to sell water in the county. It provides Nottaway with an additional stream of revenue, and it protects the interest of all of our incorporated communities. It could also pave the way for Nottaway County to further develop the county's own water supply, such as investing in improvements surrounding Crystal Lake. This would mean that we would not be solely dependent upon Prince Edward County for our water, and we could use, would give us leverage in price negotiations. I would like to encourage the board to take these recommendations under advisement, and I thank you for providing me with the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Mr.
And I will
Cruz.
also provide my remarks to the deputy administrator.
Thank you.
Mr. Hawks.
Mr. Hawks.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Forsythe. Number one, I would like for the Board of Supervisors, supervisors should reconsider Mrs. Simmons' proposal in the December meeting, I believe, to relocate the voter registration office to Nottaway Courthouse. Number two, I would like for the Board of Supervisors to remove the Confederate image from its website if it has not already done so. Money will be used to construct the facility. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mr.
Mr. Hawks.
Hawks.
Mr. Hawks. Mrs. Presley.
Hello.
Hey, how you
Oh.
doing?
Evidently, Sarah Allen must have not come. Chairman Vaughn, Board of...
She's right there.
I'm here, I'm chairman of Nottaway County Electoral Board, and at our last meeting, at the beginning of March, we voted unanimously, to hire a deputy registrar for our county, and we wanted to let you know. We had a letter that we were going to present. I'm not in possession of this letter, but unanimously, we voted to allow this. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can read it.
Chairman Vaughn, Board of Supervisors members, Mr. Procyse, Ms. Tomer. I'm Nancy Presley, the newly appointee to the Nottaway County Electoral Board. On Thursday, March the 4th, 2021, the Electoral Board voted unanimously to go on record requesting the Board of Supervisors relocate the registrar's office back to the courthouse.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, point of clarification, and congratulations,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Presley. Thank you. What action do we need to take as far as that deputy? What action do we need to take? Anything? Okay, so
The
okay.
Electoral Board is the one. that-
What, I know, but some reason, they tried to get to take action, am I correct? Okay, so
No action.
no action needed, okay, thank you.
And actually, this right here, several months ago, was in the paper, because I think it was some question as to whether the Electoral Board backed moving the, relocating the registrar back down here, and that's the reason I wanted to go on record for us to request to y'all that, the Electoral Board voted unanimously to request y'all to relocate it back.
Right, and I think, Mr. Chairman, you do have this on our agenda for one of the budget items, so I think
All right.
that process has started.
Okay, all right, thank y'all, and I will say one thing, good luck to y'all. Y'all have a rough road.
Just keep us in your prayers.
I will.
Mrs. Davis, Ashley Davis.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I have two topics off top. The first one is I hope you all take some time to acknowledge yourself as a whole, because this is very stressful, the job you have, and I could not imagine doing it. So take some time for your mental health. I don't even care if you take the next minute to collect your thoughts for the rest of this meeting, honestly.
She's not finished. She's not finished yet.
So, just to remind everybody, we still have a bunch of citizens that are still on top of the Confederate statue removal, whether it's going somewhere it should be, where people can go where they want to acknowledge it, where nobody's offended or disrespected or feel like their family members are being cut out of it and not getting the acknowledgement they deserve. But it's still a lot of us here that are still offended by the presence of it being on courthouse property, where we have to come pay taxes and do anything else to come up here to be considered equal and whole as anyone else. I'm not utilizing 3 minutes, honestly. I just want you guys to do what you think is right and keep your citizens in your front and your back of your minds. That is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Mr. Garber, Darrell Garber.
Am I the only one here tonight appalled? Right now, we have 2 special prosecutors investigating potential crimes in our county. The chairman had to read a letter apologizing for accidentally having a secret meeting. Nobody on this board can say, oh, wait a minute, this may not be right. Really? We, the citizens of Nottoway County, deserve better than this. There was once a movie about a little southern town titled In the Heat of the Night. If they do one about Nottoway, we'll have to call it In the Dark of the Night, because that's the way things are done here. When I came to the last meeting, the sheriff made me go through the metal detector. I asked when this started. He replied, they asked me to. I called some of they, and they said they knew nothing of it. I called the sheriff, and he said to me, it was not they, but one. My mistake, I thought it was a board, not a dictatorship. If there was a concern, it should have been done in consultation with the board, not with a wink, a nod, and a secret handshake. The chairman may have the authority to act unilaterally, but it was disrespectful to the other members of this board to do it in that way. This board voted to make Nottoway a sanctuary for the Second Amendment. One person nullified their vote. You swore an oath to defend the Constitution. That means all of it. You don't get picked little bits and pieces, say, I like this, no, I don't like that, we're not going to do that one. It was disrespectful to my brethren in uniform and to every citizen of this county. I submit some people cannot stand to see men and women armed because it reminds them they are free people. See the slave codes and Jim Crow laws. Hold a vote. Let us see where you stand. You owe us that much. Today we surrender the second, tomorrow the first, then we're slaves to tyranny. If this was going to be done, it should have been done and announced and voted on in this meeting before it was done. That's just the way things should be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garber. What name is that?
Nathan Miller, is that right? Yes.
How you spell your last name?
Is it Miller?
M-I-L-L-E.
Oh, yes, Nathan Miller, okay.
Good afternoon to the board,
Good afternoon.
Pro-Side. I come to this board tonight because as a citizen, I'm upset about two things that's happening in Nottoway County. My first concern is Greenview Cemetery. It's not fit to put a dog in it. Greenview Cemetery, as I understand, is a part of the county. So I'm saying this to say that you work hard all your life. I mean, probably work for some of y'all. I'm saying this to say this. Nobody should have to be put away at somewhere out there like that. I'm coming to the county to ask the county to help do something about that. It's an eyesore. You all talk about tourism and all this, but let's face it. How would I feel if I couldn't bury my people because trees are up there? That's a disgrace. And this here has came up before, but it's always put on hold. You can't find who owns it. But I bet if one of us owned it, you find out who owned it, and if you cleaned it up, you probably would put a lien on the property. You know, all I'm saying is help the citizens. Would you want to be put out there around a whole bunch of trees? I'm talking about, I experienced this because we just put two brothers away out there. And you had to jump over mud holes with the casket in your hand. It's not right. And I'm not jumping on you supervisors. I'm just asking you to look into the situation. And my second concern is 460 out there by Wilburn's store. These people don't even have decent drinking water. These are old people. They got to go out and buy the water. Go to the laundromat, wash clothes. Come on, I have a letter right here in my hand, June 15, 2020. Nothing has been done since then. Come on, man. Let's be for real. Like I said, look, I didn't come up here to hold nothing against nobody. But what I'm saying is, issues need to be looked at. These are, they were taxpayers before they died. So the motto is, hey, you feed them the water, send them to Green Hill where you can't even burn them. Thank y'all.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond? Mr. Chairman, may I respond?
Yes.
Mr. Miller, I want you to know that I have looked into this just a few months ago, and there's a switch here at the county, obviously, that's going on. That area, with the county administrator leaving, because he and I had this conversation. Well, what I did was I looked, and it appears that that cemetery does qualify under some Black History Code sections that could possibly be grant approved. So my hope was to get the CRC, the Commonwealth Regional Council, to look into this and apply for the necessary.
But meanwhile, can we go out? Like I say, if I own land and you don't like the way my land is or my land is dirty, don't y'all come and clean it up and put a lien on the property?
Well, I know the towns. I don't know if the county has done that or not.
I think we need to find out if the county, and I'm not being smart, and I hope none of y'all get mad at me. I'm just simply telling you the truth.
Yes, sir. And also, I support.
Let me clarify something. On the issue of running a water line down 460, some years ago, we had a grant to do it. And at that time, the people said, we don't want to pay, have a water bill every month. So we let it go. Now, this county does, Mr. Miller, this county does not own a water line. We have to go through.
Do you need to read this letter?
Blackstone.
Do you want to read this letter? Do you want to read this letter?
Blackstone came to us.
Hey, we're not talking about Blackstone. You said you wanted to read the letter. I gave it to you.
Okay, I will read this letter. But I'm telling you that Blackstone would have to be the one.
But Mr. Vaughn, you have not initiated anything. You told these people down here, say you were the one that put it on hold.
No, I did not put it on hold.
Listen, I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to tell you how the situation.
I'm telling you, I did not put it on hold.
The situation came up that I went to this person's house that had sickness in the family. She showed me this bottle of water, browner than probably that thing up there. They can't wash their clothes. They can't drink. These people are on low income.
Yeah, they are.
Right.
But for Blackstone.
You don't live like that, do you?
Will you let me speak? For Blackstone to run that line, it's going to be about $1.4 million. I'm looking for grants. I talked to the county administrator, deputy county administrator. We're going over to CRC, trying to get some money to pay for the line. If not, if Blackstone runs the line, then those people are going to have to pay for the hookup.
Well, Mr. Brown,
then it has to be a guarantee everyone there is going to have to hook in.
You know the deal about that as well as I do. So don't act like you don't know.
What is the deal?
The deal is you got one person out there that don't want the water, so you didn't.
No.
Okay.
One person would stop it. One person would not stop it.
I'm through.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that, people. I mean, citizens. Mrs. Allen, Sarah Allen.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak. Mr. Vaughn, thank you for acknowledging Miss Daphne Norton. She's a good friend of mine. I knew she had a lot to say. She's my neighbor, and I do appreciate you remedying that situation. Thank you so much. Right. I want to start out by saying I support the entire Board of Supervisors. Ms. Shackleton, your research, you do well bringing the information to the board so they can make an educated decision. Ms. Simmons, you've always been a fighter. People don't realize that you used to fight back in the day for the PTA for all the students of Nottoway County. Mr. Vaughn, your dedication and longevity to service, this is not an easy job. Bowen, you're very objective, and Mr. Roy, you're passionate about helping people. It is not unnoticed, it is appreciated. You're also a fighter. But separately, I don't support none of you. And that's the truth. Because you can't get nothing done the way things are going. It's a lot of people in Nottaway County that just love the board. And they are absolutely right. And there's a lot of people in Nottaway County that love John Rook, and they are just as right. But when you're separated like this, you can't do nothing. You can't move forward. You're on the side. It's at a standstill. And some of these issues these people are bringing up tonight, they can get resolved a lot faster if everybody worked together. You know, and that's the issue. It's people out here that don't want y'all to be successful. But here's the thing: when the board is not successful, Nottaway County is not successful. And I appreciate everybody bringing things to light, that things that need to be done, some things that were done improperly. It has to be brought to light so we can move forward. Without that, it wouldn't be. We would just be at a standstill. And you showed me the perfect politician. I don't even need to finish the sentence because you can't do it. So we all gonna just continue to learn from our past. And yeah, it's stuff that could have been done better with the ice storm. 10 days in the dark and cold, you can't tell me that it wasn't a better way. So I mean, we appreciate that, but and the steps that y'all are doing to move forward. But right now, that ice storm, the damage the ice storm did to Nottaway County pales in the damage that whatever's going on the board is doing in Nottaway County. And with that being said, I just want to continue to thank y'all for y'all service and being in this board position. I'm on the electoral board of Nottaway County. I know what it's like to be on the other side of this wall. I know what it's like to work 45 hours a week for $1,600 and still got to go to work to your full-time job. So I appreciate all your service, Mr. Procyse and this young lady. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak that didn't sign up? Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. We don't have public hearings tonight. So we'll go to the department reports.
Presentations.
Yes, sir.
Presentations. Presentations. Presentation reports.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm sorry. The minutes.
Thank you. Presentations, Mr. Procyse.
What about the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, if it's all
Yeah.
the same to you, I'd like to move that to the very end of the meeting, please.
He'd like to move it to the end of the meeting.
Oh, what we talked about?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay. Okay, will you go through that list?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The VDOT, the Virginia Department of Transportation report is in your package. As you can see in the email from Diana Bryant, we need to schedule a work session to discuss the next 6-year plan. When would you all like to schedule it? Possibly before the April board meeting? It's usually a fairly short meeting.
Okay, can we do that next month? What about next month?
Usually we do it before
Yeah.
before the meeting.
Oh,
We come a little early than we normally do it, don't we?
yeah, we extended the meeting. Okay, we'll do the 6-year plan at the April,
Prior to the regular board meeting?
prior to
That's
the
what
regular
I'm
board
Okay,
meeting.
all right. The information from the Nottaway County School Board is on your desk. It came in after the board package was completed. If there are no questions, the Nottaway County Health Department did not really send us a packet of information. However, we did supply you with a chart that had some interesting comparisons about vaccination rates with neighboring counties. This was done at the end of February, so it's a little bit dated, but at that time it did show Nottaway County had a respectable rate of vaccination compared to Amelia County and Brunswick County. Economic Development Committee has been eliminated, as have all the other committees. In the future, the board may wish to call special meetings with the towns to discuss economic development prospects as they come up.
Okay, what would be a good day?
I don't have anything right now. I don't have any prospects in front of us right now, but You could continue to use the fourth Thursday as the EDC used to do, if that's satisfactory.
We can do that.
Piedmont Regional Jail came in late too. A copy is at your desk for that. The Nottaway County Planning Commission did not meet. The building inspection E&S report is in your package. Under animal control, there's a donation that the county received. It's in your package. We ask you to authorize signing and approval to the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies Direct Animal Award of $10,000 to the Nottaway County Animal Shelter.
The chair needs a motion to give the county administrator permission to accept that.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that you signed to receive this donation.
Yes, sir, that's what
But
we need.
explain that this donation cannot be used for the building of the...
No, sir, it can only be used basically for the operation of the existing shelter, to my understanding.
Okay. Okay, unfinished business.
Did
We didn't say all approved.
We need to.
We got the second motion, but you didn't
Need to
say
vote.
whether all of us approved it or not.
Oh, you made the motion, you seconded it.
No,
Those in
Lynn
favor, let it be
seconded.
known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it.
Under the Sandy River resolution, unfortunately, the meeting with the towns to discuss the issue earlier this week has to be rescheduled. If you all have a time in mind, we will try to get the parties together and reschedule the meeting.
Okay. Do you all have any dates that you would like to do this?
I can work to y'all's schedule, whatever the board has.
Same way.
You can,
Me too.
okay.
Ms.
Work up some dates and we'll,
Yes, sir. Is next week going to be, next week, I guess, is really going to be too early. Now, Ms. Shackleton, I understand you're going to be out first week of April, correct? All right. Do you want to try to
well,
make
the first
this,
week of April is gonna run into Easter anyway, so anytime after that would be.
say the second week, try to shoot for the
Yes.
second week of April?
Yes.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, just on behalf of the towns, just keep in mind, Crew Town Council, second Monday of the month, Purple Town Council, second Tuesday of the month, and Blackstone Town Council, third Monday of the month. Just
Okay.
put it out there. I'm sorry.
Under the cell tower request, we need to reschedule AT&T for a question and answer session concerning the issue of the proposed cell tower request off of McCune Road. One of the things that you may want to consider is to actually have the AT&T representative come to the April board meeting where you all could ask questions directly. I know that you originally had asked the Planning Commission to ask the questions, but it's your ultimate responsibility to make the decision. So if you'd like, I'll try to get someone from AT&T here at the April meeting, if that's acceptable.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's okay?
Yes.
The next item is RRMM Animal Shelter Report, and I believe Ms. Shackleton has some information for you on that.
Right. Spoke to the architect last week. He was hoping that the conceptual design and the program report with the budget would be on his desk within a few days, and they originally anticipated we would have that information by April 2nd, so I think they still feel like they're on track with that.
Okay.
Under the IDA appointment, does anyone have, I'm sorry.
Concerning the animal shelter, is there any way, because when we had the emergency, a lot of people didn't come to the emergency because they didn't have a place for the pet. Could it be some additional made to it for, in case of emergency, spare place to keep, animals in case, because a lot of people didn't come to the shelter because they didn't know where to keep the animals. Don't you think it'd be a good idea to add a extra area for people that have pets that they want to put in safe, during an emergency?
Mr. Chairman, I think you had said something about we were when we do the new emergency operational plan, that some of those considerations will be taken into
And the
place.
animal control was one of the two.
Yeah.
I see Miss Presley out there too. Not Miss Presley, that's Miss Presley right there.
I just thought that we were told we couldn't speak out of turn at the last meeting. No commentary unless you were at public delegation. That's what we were told.
I can't hear her.
She said the last meeting, they were told not to speak out of turn.
Right. You are exactly right.
Thank you, sir.
You are exactly right.
I agree he should be able to speak. I was just saying what you.
Right. Mr. Clark, I took notes about you wanting a schematic drawing.
No, that was Mr. Hawks. Only thing he was saying to put up.
I know what he was talking about. Someone wanted a schematic drawing. Who
That
was
was
that?
Mr. Hawks.
Mr. Hawks. Mr. Hawks wanted
Mr. Hawks was the one that wanted it. Okay, I knew it was one of them.
in the newspapers, so citizens will be able to respond to the drawings and offer you all suggestions and recommendations to make corrections and adjustments.
Mr. Chairman, we will be holding public hearings on that as well, correct?
Right.
Okay.
We will have, definitely. Okay,
IDA appointment, Mr. Chairman, do any of the members have a name for the vacant seat for Mr. Bill Wilkerson, who has resigned from that organization?
I may have someone, John, but I have to.
you have an idea?
I have an idea. Yeah, I have an idea of who.
Who is it?
Jimmy Beverly.
Right around there. Okay. Is that James?
Yes.
Okay. For the IDA appointment.
I don't have. I haven't confirmed it with him yet.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Next month I
But
should.
you will talk to him?
Yes, I will.
Okay. New business.
Mr. Chairman and members, you have in your package information about the School Resource Officer Incentive Grant Program. This has to be out tomorrow, and we need to make sure that the county can provide the budget for the match, and what we need is for you to authorize us to sign.
I'm having trouble hearing.
The School Resource Officer Incentive Grant Program, we need to make a motion to accept so that they can have the grant, do the grant.
So make the motion.
That's what you need, right,
Yes,
John?
yes,
You need a
ma'am.
motion?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
so move.
Second.
You need a motion to allow signatures on the next application.
Right.
Okay, I make a motion for the signatures on the next application for the School Resource Officer Incentive Grant Program.
Okay. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
It's been moved, it was moved and seconded. Yeah. Under new business, we have the convenience center operating hours.
Ice storm compensation.
I think, Mr. Rourke, you want.
Ice storm compensation.
That comes later. That's the last one on here.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wait a minute, I have two different, this is where the problem has been. I have two different agendas.
It's
All
on
of
the
them
fir-
there.
It's on the first page. Oh.
Okay.
See, we're here, so it's the ice storm
Okay,
compensation.
I see now. That's not on my first sheet, the one out, my working sheet. Okay. That's where the problem has been. Okay,
Ice storm
ice storm
compensation.
compensation. Katie, will you,
We don't have all of that complete, so we'll bring it back to you when it's all done.
Okay, it's not complete yet, she'll bring it back.
okay, so we'll have to do that at another month.
So Katie, would you like for us to put it on the April agenda? Okay.
Okay, convenience store, Mr. Rourke.
Yes, sir. I'd like for the board to consider to see if we could work it into the budget to extend the hours of the convenience centers. When the ice storm hit, the citizens seemed to be very pleased that there was more availability there during that, and for obvious reasons. Why? Because a lot of people leave and the convenience centers close, or either they get back home and the convenience centers close. So I'd just like the board to at least consider.
What time are you talking about?
Going 7 to 7, to 7 days a week.
Okay, all right. We'll take that under advisement.
Yes, sir.
Look at the budget. And the next one was,
Mr. Chairman, can I speak freely with
Please
Mr.
do.
Rourke? Mr. Rourke, Mr. Rourke, would you say 7 days a week?
Yes, sir.
12 hours, and would you say how many hours?
Yes, 7 to 7.
7 to 7, 12 hours. Would you be willing to compromise that for budget purposes?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We got to make sure we work it into the budget. That's the reason why I
Okay.
said,
All right.
in other words, if we could agree, I assumed it essentially could start July 1.
Right, okay. I just don't want,
yeah.
I agree, let me tell you where we agree.
Go ahead.
I agree that it probably needs to be extended. I'm agree on that.
Okay.
Because it's not aggravating to the person get up there to take the trash and that gate's closed, and it's happened to me, amen. I know, it's an aggravating feeling. And it happens sometimes when you're 10 minutes late, man, then you gotta keep that mess in the back of your vehicle. Okay, all right, that's something we can talk about, I think, right?
We can talk about it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But the cost has gotta.
It's gonna be a high cost. You have Mr. Frank Carlo, Mr. Rourke.
Yes, sir. I recently had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Frank Carlo, and this was concerning an ongoing issue that getting power to a location that he has back there in Blackstone. Mm-hmm. He asked if the board could help, and my conversation with him was, and as I understand it, and of course, Mr. Colburn, I would say, feel free to interject if I get off the rails here by any means, but as I understand it, the town of Blackstone has tried to work out a situation, and the holdup with Southside Electric would not agree. And I'm wondering if it's number one, righteous, if the board would be kind enough to send a letter to ask Southside Electric if they would reconsider this. My position on this is simply this. I believe Mr. Carlos has the opportunity there to create some jobs in Nottoway County. And right now, the cost is over $400,000 just to get a line back there when Blackstone has offered to run it, and all Southside Electric needs to do is put a meter on there and start charging. So the town of Blackstone has, I feel like, bent over backwards and still has, as I understand it, an open door to willing to help this and remedy the situation. I just hate to pass on the opportunity to create some jobs here.
Do we know why Southside Electric has declined the offer of the town?
Make a long story short, we have proposed to not make a dime. We have a 3-phase meter 100 yards from his building. But of course, his building is in Southside Electric territory, not our territory. Southside Electric proposes to adhere to their policy to run to their nearest 3-phase line, which is about 2 miles out on Cox Road. We've had very harmonious discussions with Southside Electric. We've said, look, we want you to have a customer. We're just going to be the conduit. You make all the money, we don't make a dime. But they get a certain allocation from ODEC, the Old Dominion Electric Cooperative, and this would apparently threaten their percentage they're allowed to do. To the average person, it's very complicated. It's complicated to me, but the town does not want to make a dime. We just want to see Mr. Carlo, whether it's 1 job or 50. And we just, the county may have a little extra push, but the discussion has been very harmonious. There's no bad blood or anything. It's just beating our head against the wall, trying to help this man get 3-phase current without paying $5 million.
Right. So so my request would just simply be.
I believe we have in the past, this request has been made before, if I'm not mistaken, and we can give a letter, but until Southside and Blackstone are willing to sit down and work it out, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, I agree, and I think,
And I think it goes way back, and it might take some first-class funerals for this problem to be.
I assure you the feud is over. I promise you, Mr. Vaughn, the feud is over.
and maybe Southside Electric might be in a given mood right now.
So, I don't know.
Thank you for the consideration of that.
But it's nothing new. It's not new. Okay, we'll skip it. We need appointments.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to interject here on this part of it, if you don't mind, sir. April 1st is here, okay? So I move that we appoint John Prosize as interim county administrator effective April 1st, 2021, as zoning administrator effective April 1st, 2021, and confirm his prior appointment as clerk to the board to continue on and after April 1st, 2021.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. And give that to Katie, what you read.
I will.
Those in favor, let it be known by the
Sir,
usual sign.
let's have discussion, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Before you put up the vote, let people have time to have discussion, if they've got questions, clarify.
Okay,
Move on.
okay. Did you second the motion? Okay. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Abbott made a very valid point. We got to do some cleanup. I was asked a question a while back about April 12th. So let's clean this up. I move that with his knowledge and agreement, we terminate our current engagement with Preston Williams as Nottoway County Attorney, that we ratify the October 12th, 2020 agreement with Sand Anderson for legal services, and that we appoint Sand Anderson as Nottoway County Attorney, all effective immediately.
Second.
It's been seconded by Mrs. Okay, I need a copy of that, but what you want to do is terminate the county attorney as it is now, then reappoint Sands Anderson, and then reappoint Sands Anderson as the county attorney as well. All right?
And ratify the engagement.
And ratify.
Dated
Those in
October
favor?
12th.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Did you get a second, sir?
I
You did? Okay.
I did. I second. I seconded. He asked, did we get a second? I said, yes, we did.
Oh, he got a second, I made sure.
Yes.
I'll make sure I get a second from this point on. Constitutional officers. Sir, Mr. Page.
Yeah,
I
just wanted, I had a question for the board I was trying to do before you voted. Did you guys just fire the county attorney and hire the attorney that gave you an invoice for FOIA consultation back in October? And that she's been to every meeting since? And since then, you've done 2 illegal FOIA court session meetings. You violated it twice, and now you're in court. So you got rid of one attorney and hire one that gives you bad advice. That's so big, I don't understand it. Thank you.
Constitutional officer, Ms. Brown, Jane Brown.
She's not here.
Sheriff?
I'm gonna take a moment to speak to my constituents, I guess. I'm not gonna stand up there because I don't want my back to the board, I don't want my back to nobody. Basically, I'm speaking to all y'all. We've had some issues this week, prior to this week, started last month. The Second Amendment issues about this building right here. Personally, I consider this a courtroom. It's a courtroom all the time. For me, fortunate, I guess, the law supports that. The law says this is a courtroom all the time, this is a court building all the time. So, basically, when you come to court, weapons are being checked for, and you're not letting the court if you got them. And it needs a little bit more slack there, because it is a public meeting. But again, we know what's going on, or I know what's going on when people are in this building. And I just plan to keep it that way. And again, like I said, I got the 3 judges concur with me, the county attorney concur with me. The courthouse is a courthouse. Okay? Just want everybody to know that. It's a courthouse, it's a courthouse, it's a courthouse. Thank you.
Sheriff,
Yes, sir.
would you read this letter, please?
That's one from the judges.
It's from the judges.
All right, I got a copy.
He's got a copy.
All right, the letter states, to the Nottaway County Deputy Administrator, reference firearms in the courthouse. Dear Mr. Prosite, Ms. Childers informed us that you are seeking guidance as to whether citizens may bring firearms into the Nottaway County Courthouse during meetings of the Board of Supervisors. The specific statute on point is Virginia Code 18.2-283.1. It is unlawful for any person to possess or transport into any courthouse in this Commonwealth any kind, any gun or other weapon designed or intended to propel a missile or projectile of any kind, frame, receiver, muffler, silencer, missile, projectile, or ammunition designed for use with a dangerous weapon or other dangerous weapon, including explosives, stun weapons as defined in 18.2-308.1, and those weapons specified in subsection A of 18.2-308. Any such weapon should be subject to seizure by a law enforcement officer. The violation of this section is punishable as a Class 1 misdemeanor. The provisions of this section should not apply to any police officer, sheriff, law enforcement agent, or official conservation police officer, conservator of the peace, magistrate, court officer, judge, city or county treasurer, or commissioner or deputy commissioner of Virginia Workers' Compensation Board, while in the conduct of such person's official duties. Of course, the Board of Supervisors can conduct this meeting any way it chooses, but the statute above applies to activities within a courthouse. Very truly yours, Teresa J. Royal, J.D.R. Judge, Tom Stark, General District Judge, Kenneth A. Blaylock, General District Judge. That is the letter.
Thank you.
Maybe we should have meetings elsewhere.
Okay, sir, please don't do that again. If you do, out the door you're going. Mrs. Myatt, Krista Hudson, and Mrs. Walters. Thank you. Okay, the consent calendar.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved that we approve the consent calendar. Those in favor, second. Oh, you seconded. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Mr. Prosite, will you do the information?
Yes, sir. If there are no questions about the information items, there is one thing I'd like for you all to consider. On page 61 of your package, you see bids for a generator. This generator is for the county to be used wherever necessary. We've had need for a generator at the landfill during the recent ice storm. You see the bids that Mr. Lewis has obtained for the generator, and we'd like to know what your pleasure is about that potential purchase.
Okay. Tell me, Helen, what did he?
He's asking about the generators. We have the generators,
Okay, what
the
about
proposal on the generators.
Page 61, Mr. Chairman.
51?
61.
61.
Let me see it. Oh, what you bought from Bevel's? Now, what about that, Mr. Forsyth? I'm having problems hearing tonight.
I understand, and I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. We want to make sure that we bring the bids to the board so the board can tell us what to do. We seem to have made an error earlier about not bringing something to the board that we thought we didn't need to, and we want to make sure that we're bringing it to you for your decision.
Okay. Do I need any action
I'm
on
not
that?
familiar enough with what capacity would be required you know, for the purposes that we need to know how would we select from this?
These were all comparable wattages, and they were chosen based upon the need that Mr. Lewis, the building inspector, thought was the most all-purpose size for the county.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the first item from number 1 at Bevel's is obviously the cheapest one and also has the 8,000 running watts. I'd be okay to move forward with that individual item.
Bevel's had the least expensive offer,
Yeah,
which
okay.
was $1,099.
Right, I've read that. You want to get that one, Mr.?
Yeah, I'll be fine with that, yes, sir.
Okay. Make a motion, we'll second it.
Okay, well, I moved to give the county administrator's office permission to purchase from Bevel's Hardware the Generac 8000E 8,000 running watts at a cost of $1,099 plus tax.
Not for the county.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no tax.
I strike the plus tax.
Okay. I need a second. I need a second. It is there. Unless.
I'm giving Lynn time to read. I think she's reading it.
Okay. Yeah, for lack of a
Okay,
second.
if I give you a second, can we have discussion?
Yes, sir.
All right, a second. This is what the people were talking about, you know. Here we are in a meeting, scrambling around discussing, because we've let some people bog down government. Some people call it transparency. I see that. But we got vendors here who are competing against each other, and we give no empowerment to the county administrator, the interim county administrator. No empowerment. We're micromanaging board, but we need it. Go ahead and let's put it for the motion. I just want to speak my piece, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Those in favor, let it be, no. It's been moved by Mr. Rourke, seconded by Mr. Bowen. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, just as an information item about the after-action review, the submissions are still coming in. We've received 2 submissions already for that, but the deadline period is not ended yet. So we're hoping that pretty soon, by the end of this month, first week in April, we'll have all the submissions in so that you all can choose which company provides the action after report. After-action report. Just to let you know, we are re-advertising the truck that we did not get any bids on previously. Under County Administrator, you see the courthouse complex repair ad that Mr. Lewis has prepared. I hope you all had time to read it. If it is satisfactory, we will be placing that ad in the papers.
I make a motion to approve the ad.
Second.
Discussion?
She beat you to it.
No, discussion.
Moved and seconded that.
He said discussion.
Oh, discuss it. Okay.
Yes, sir. The only thing I have, Mr. Chairman, is that after our social services meeting, I had one of my other board members was not able to exit out the front of the General District Courthouse here. And I'm just asking for consideration to have rails installed out here, because she had to literally walk all the way down just to get down here and come to her car.
Okay, we're going through the courthouse complex now to look at all the repairs before we paint. So we'll take that under consideration.
Okay.
You want to take that in consideration for a different request, or do you want to add that to this request? I'm sorry.
I was hoping to add, but...
So what you're trying to do is, since we're following state, make sure we're clear to everybody. So what you're trying to do is you're doing a change order, And as long as it's within 20% of the total cost, you should be fine. So he's asking for a change order to add that. Am I hearing that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Make sure everybody knows we're doing things legal.
right. You can do it that way or the other way as well. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed? Okay.
In your package, you see a regional joint information plan, and all we're asking you to do for that, this is a plan that will allow in a disaster or emergency situations for counties to work closer together. All of this is a result, of course, of the historic ice storm. What we're asking you to do is allow us, if you wish, to send a letter of support for this idea.
I'd be okay with that.
Okay, okay, Mr. Rourke?
Yes, sir.
Make the motion. Mr. Bourne is seconding, is it? Am I right?
No, sir, I hadn't made the motion yet. I'd like to make the motion to allow the administrator's office to send the letter of support for the JIC, Joint Information Center.
Okay. Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we have our county administrator do a regional joint information plan, a letter of support for that. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed?
Mr. Chairman, you have a letter in your package from Mr. Dean Lewis. It concerns the resignation of our former part-time erosion and sediment control technician, Philip Moore. Mr. Lewis has successfully completed his certifications to do that job, and he's asking you to increase his salary based upon his added duties.
To be compensated for the ES, the erosion and support.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve a $400,000. Listen to me. Let me. I withdraw that motion.
I know you do.
I'd like to make a motion to increase Dean Lewis, building official and code official for Nottaway County salary, $4,000 to supplement his additional duties that he will now be doing with the soil and erosion.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we, Mr. Lewis has taken on Mr. Moore's responsibility, and he's asking to be compensated for it. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. To the tune of what, $4,000?
Yes, sir.
Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, in your package you have a draft RFP template for employee benefits brokerage and consultant services. I think Ms. Shackleton has maybe can help talk about that a bit.
Mr. Shackleton gave us a copy of that last week.
Yes,
You all had a chance to look at it? Okay, we need a motion to approve that draft. I need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I believe Ms. Shackleton had some information she wanted to share.
Just that this was the template for our broker RFP. There was a timeline that accompanied this. I think we're getting to the point, it's getting critical that we get this RFP out in order to consider in time before September renewal. The broker indicated, in addition to putting out the RFP for the broker, that the brokers in turn have to RFP for insurance carriers. So if we get this template approved, then we can proceed with advertising the RFP.
Okay.
Mr. Vaughn, I had looked at it and I think it's fine.
Let someone else make a motion on that.
Okay.
Okay. You too. Ms. Shackleton, will you make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the template for the RFP for insurance services.
Okay. Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the template for the employees' benefit and brokerage consultant services. Those in favor, let it be known by the usual sign. Those opposed, the ayes have it. Mr. Procyse.
Mr. Chairman, just a little update on the census that we were originally expecting to come out in April. We've received the information now that the census information that we need will not be available. Well, they hope to be available by September 30th of this year. I would assume that the COVID-19 has slowed those types of things up, but that is
Unacceptable.
6 months past when they usually provide it.
We're going through the CRC to help us on that.
Well, yes, sir, but we can't redistrict until we get the census information, and
Right.
it's not going to be available until the fall of this year.
Okay. That's information. We're now down to the last item, which is members of the Board of Supervisors. Supervisor Shackleton.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Bowen.
Mr. Chairman, we got a little bit of a late, well, maybe it's because it was there early and I looked at it late. Ms. Norton had mentioned, she noticed something that I've observed myself, and you know, we have this thing at Piedmont, you need to get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is people throw trash out the window and they don't give a rip, and it's trash all over the road. And what she's asking is to implement the trustee trash pickup program with Nottoway Correctional Center or the Community Service Program. We have, I think, even at the LRA, we're not getting the, they don't call them inmates anymore. They call them, what is it?
Offenders.
Offenders. Thank you very much. See, sometimes it's good for people to shout out when they're trying to help me. My story, I'm sticking with it. So I don't know what I'm asking is, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Procyse, can we send a letter and see if we can get this thing initiated and get people back? What do we need to do to tell people we need people out there to stop picking up trash? It's terrible.
Why don't we?
We'll be happy to send a letter if you like. They
yeah,
also are
please
not
do.
coming to the landfill.
Right.
And the landfill use them very much to help clean up and to cut grass, but also to clean up the blowing trash down there.
And I think COVID probably stopped all that too, didn't it, John?
Yes, they did, yes.
And families used to walk down the road and pick up trash too. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you could adopt a road or something, right? You
I
know,
don't know
but
whether they're still doing
but guys, I mean, you folks, I tell you, just go down 360 right there in front of Piedmont, 460. It's terrible. It's terrible.
all over.
Anyway, but anyway, I think, you know, she's got a good point, and let's maybe just tell, you know, let them know how much we miss them.
Right. He's going to call, get in
Okay.
touch with them, and we'll see. We'll be able to report at the April meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr.
That's all I got, Mr.
Mr. Rourke.
Yes, sir, I'll be real brief. Number one, I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Bowen said, that that's a great idea. Currently, I've got a request in to get some cleanup done on the East Courthouse right up there next to the landfill because somebody has dumped a mess of trash right up there. But anyway, I just want to leave y'all with a thought. At the last Social Services Board meeting, I got some information here and I just wanted to share it with y'all. It's two figures and it's kind of staggering. 22% of people, all ages, are living in poverty in Nottoway County. And 27% of children under 18 years old are living in poverty in Nottoway County. Just some food for thought. Thank you, sir.
Question for clarification?
Yes.
What's the number that puts you in poverty level, Mr. Rourke? Just curious.
It is, you would ask me a question without my glasses. There's the sheet right there.
I'll just read it then. Thank you. Move on, Mr. I was just.
Pick that up through the free and reduced lunch. So
Right, they use this, the ALICE project, which is the Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. And that's where they compile the whole thing from. It's more than just food.
Well, the families would have to
yes.
report that, yeah. Okay, Mrs. Simmons.
Getting on, well, cleaning up. I've had a couple of complaints from some of the constituents about homes being next door to them that haven't been cleaned, and it's making that neighborhood look really, really bad. So I don't know what we can do about that, but I did ride through the two places that were mentioned, and they're very bad. So we need to think about what we can do about that.
Let's think about it.
Yeah.
We'll know more about cleaning up once Mr. Procyte's called the prison. I received 2 letters, and normally I would do this right after the delegation. But one letter was from Mr. Greg Eames, and the other letter was from Mrs. Christine Easterlin. Mr. Eames' letter, I did not want these read at this board meeting. And if someone wants to get Mr. Eames' letter, then they need to look at the Courier Record or the full account through Burkeville. Mrs. Easterlin sent me this letter concerning the naming of the high school from the Nottoway and Amelia School back to Luther Foster. That was part of her letter. I'm going to call her and ask that she send a copy of this letter to the Crew Burkeville Journal and the Courier Record. But this board has no responsibility whatsoever for the schools. The schools are owned by the school board. And only the school board can name the schools or change the name of schools. This board has no responsibility to do that. I have told Mrs. Easterlin this, and I'm sure she's heard it from me several times, but this board has no responsibility. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Well, we're supposed to do something with that.
Crew has adopted a resolution. Mrs. Simmons, will you read this resolution coming from the Crew mayor?
The resolution recognizing the extraordinary efforts of our first responders and community following the historic February 2021 winter storm, adopted March 8, 2021. Whereas beginning on February 13, 2021, the town of Crew and Nottoway County was struck by a once-in-a-generation ice storm. And whereas the resulting devastation included downed trees and tree limbs, down power lines, property damage, and loss of electricity, resulting in untold subsequent financial losses to individuals. And whereas linemen from Dominion Energy, Southside Electric Cooperative, and across the southeastern United States worked tirelessly day and night in extreme and frigid weather conditions to restore power. And whereas churches, businesses, and volunteers opened their doors, provided free warm meals to emergency workers and those in need. And whereas friends, family, and neighbors offered their homes to others in need of a place to stay or a hot shower. And whereas civic-minded people set up donation drives and helped spread important messages to those without internet access. And whereas Nottoway County Administration, with assistance from the Department of Emergency Management, executed its first robust emergency response operation. And whereas Nottoway County Department of Social Services worked methodologically to open and maintain safe and effective warming stations and a 24-hour shelter. Now therefore be it resolved that the Crewe Town Council and Mayor do hereby recognize the extraordinary efforts of our first responders and community following the historic February 2021 winter storm. And it be resolved further that the clerk of the town of Crewe prepare a copy of this resolution to present to the chairman of the Nottaway County Board of Supervisors and the presidents of Dominion Energy and Southside Electric Cooperative with the town's gratitude for their continued service to our community. And it be resolved further that the clerk of the town of Crewe prepare a copy of the resolution to display prominently in the Crewe Town office for all to remember the selfless efforts of our community during times of disaster and devastation. Philip G. Miskovic, Mayor.
Thank you. And let me say this, Mayor Miskovic really worked very hard with us in the emergency center. And we want to offer our thanks and congratulations to him for working with us. Now, the last thing I'm gonna give Mr. Procyse an opportunity to talk to us.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I have had the honor of serving the citizens of Nottaway County for the last 27.5 years. It has been a privilege to work for and with my Nottaway County community. This year I'll be 66 years old. Over the last year or so, God has sent me many signs that it's time for me to go. I have listened to what the Lord has been telling me. Therefore, it is my intention to retire no later than June 30th of this year. I thank Nottaway County citizens for all the kindnesses and support they have given me. God bless everyone.
Thank you for your service, sir.
I've had an opportunity to work with Mr. Procyse for those 27 years. And Mr. Procyse has been a very excellent employee, no question about it. He's a hard worker, he's smart, he knows the game. And what happened to him at the last meeting was deplorable. It should not have happened. And I'm not one who raise sand all the time, but when I speak, people know that I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. But Mr. Procyse has been a very good employee. And some way, somehow, we're going to find a way to continue to use Mr. Procyse in some capacity. I don't know what at this point, but he's too valuable a person with too valuable experience and expertise to let him go home and sit. No way. Thank you, Mr. Procyse, for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept Deputy Administrator John Procyse's retirement notice.
Okay.
No. No. Vivian said no.
Go right on.
Mr. Procyse, his retirement, that's a personnel matter, so it doesn't have to be accepted. I mean, I suppose you could, but he will work that out. He has said no later than June 30th, so my suggestion to you, my recommendation to you, is to let him work that out with Virginia Retirement System and that sort of thing, it being a personnel matter.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay. You withdraw?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Unless he wants us to accept it. I'll leave that up to him. If he says nothing, I'll withdraw.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn to Monday, March 22nd, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Camp Pickett Officers Club located at 3951 Military Road, Pickett Park, Blackstone, Virginia, 23824 zip code.
Okay, that's the Officers Club. We'll adjourn. Hey, the hypocrite.